Now on KMTV, kids injured in crash. Death penalty to retain or repeal.
It's clearly a matter of life and death.
Remembering the victims of a horrific house fire.
They're special little girls.
Family, friends, and neighbors gathered tonight to remember the Spear family. Good evening, I'm Craig Nigrelli. Jenny is off tonight. Mike and Michelle, along with their 4 daughters, all died in a house fire last week on McKelvey Road in Omaha. Tonight, mourners attended a visitation. Reporter Nick Starling was in Bellevue. He's live for us tonight. Nick?
Craig, for 2 hours, hundreds came into Calvary Christian Church in Bellevue to pay their respects to the Spear family, many wiping away tears and hugging each other. There's no question a family of 6 had a major impact on the community.
Group by group, many with young families, people file in and out of Calvary Christian Church, remembering 6 lives lost last week. Many are just in shock. Something like this could happen to a family like the Spears.
To lose such a family like that is just heartbreaking.
Cass County investigators and the state fire marshal say fireplace embers ignited the home of Mike and Michelle Spear on McKelvey Road in Omaha. Their 4 children were sleeping when the house caught on fire. The victims, 36-year-olds Mike and Michelle Spear, and their 4 daughters, 11-year-old Ellie, 7-year-old Adeline, 5-year-old Emma, and 2-year-old Aniston, all died from smoke inhalation. Ever since, the communities in Cass County have responded by laying memorials like this one next to the Spears mailbox.
Our community is embracing the Spears and the Perez family, and that we're all here for them.
Mike's brother Jared said in a statement, the whole family was just a big lump of love and good memories. There is a huge hole left now in our hearts that will never be filled.
And friends of the Spear family created a GoFundMe page. So far, it's raised more than $6,000. Some of that money will go to the rural fire departments that responded to this tragedy. The funeral is set for 10 a.m. tomorrow at Calvary Christian Church in Bellevue. Reporting live in studio, Nick Starling, KMTV Action 3 News.
A crash involving kids sent 3 people to the hospital in Omaha this afternoon. Tonight, investigators have booked the father for felony drunk driving and child abuse. Police discovered a banged-up car at Miller Park. 36-year-old Benjamin Thompson was dumping alcoholic containers in the garbage there. The collision happened at 30th and Sorensen. Investigators say Thompson took off. Cops tracked him to the park. You see the car right there. They found 3 injured children, ages 8, 6, and 1 inside the car. The 8-year-old girl has critical head injuries tonight.
Now, your Weather Alert First Forecast.
Well, a front that came through on Sunday allowed some cooler air to settle in across the area today, but it was still actually above normal with the winds from the southeast. We managed to make it into the low to mid 60s. Normal high this time of the year around 61 degrees. Right now, temperatures are beginning to fall off across the Omaha metro. We're at 55 in Weston Hills, 53 Chalco Hills, and even in Council Bluffs, you're down now to 50 degrees. I'll show you what you can expect in the morning. There is a chance for some showers and thunderstorms across the area tomorrow. I'll show you what time.
All right, Zepp, we'll see you then. Both sides will make closing arguments tomorrow in the murder trial of accused Creighton killer Anthony Garcia. The defense wrapped up its case with Dr. Francisco Diaz. He testified the 2007 murder of Joy Blanchard in Omaha was similar to the 2008 killings of Thomas Hunter and Shirley Sherman. The defense argued other people, not Garcia, might be connected to the murders.
The problem with that is that in this particular case, there are very specific ties between the victims and the defendant. And so at this point, to come in and just merely show some similarities between the methods of the murder, it's just conjecture. It's not really evidence.
Prosecutors believe Garcia stabbed to death Thomas Hunter and Shirley Sherman in 2008, then came back to Omaha in 2013 and murdered Roger and Mary Brumbach. The leader of thousands of Omaha Catholics is making his voice heard tonight in the battle over the death penalty in Nebraska. Archbishop George Lucas accompanied Joe D'Ambrosio at St. Cecilia Cathedral tonight. D'Ambrosio spent 21 years on death row before a court cleared him of murder. He and Lucas urged voters to retain the state ban on capital punishment. However, more than 100,000 Nebraskans signed petitions to get it on the November ballot.
It does not serve the common good and really doesn't build up the public welfare for us to have state-sponsored execution. But there's another way for us to see that justice is done and serious crimes call for justice.
The Nebraska Secretary of State released radio ads today aimed at clarifying the ballot language on the issue. If you're against the death penalty, you vote retain. If you're for it, vote repeal. We now know how much Bellevue's new administrator will make. The City Council voted tonight to approve a $150,000 a year contract for Joe Mongemelli. He's currently the city administrator for Columbus. He will start in Bellevue at the end of November. He replaces Dan Berlowitz. Remember this? The City Council fired him after a confrontation that he initiated at a dental office caught on surveillance video in June. More bleak news tonight for people getting health insurance from the federal government. The White House confirms premiums will rise 25% next year in states served by healthcare.gov. It comes as more people are expected to use the federal marketplace, despite the insurance carriers such as Aetna, United Health, and Humana leaving the exchanges. Sign up for the new year starts next Tuesday. To campaign 2016 coverage now, the federal government will be watching when you go to cast your ballot in 2 weeks. The U.S. Attorney in Omaha has appointed a special watchdog. That official here will work with the Justice Department as part of a national effort to deal with any complaints of election fraud or voting abuses. Special agents will man the FBI field office on Election Day. 2 weeks from tonight is Election Eve. Nebraska has 5 electoral votes up for grabs, Iowa 6. Hillary Clinton is planning a stop at an early voting event in Iowa on Friday. It will be in Cedar Rapids, about 4 hours east of Omaha. Clinton's last trip here was August 1st. Warren Buffett joined her at a rally at North High School. A handful of new polls tonight paint a different picture of the presidential race. The latest CNN poll shows Hillary Clinton up 49 to 44%, the same 5% lead as 3 weeks ago. But 2 daily polls show a closer race. The IBD survey shows Clinton and Trump deadlocked at 41% right there. And the daily Rasmussen poll shows Trump leading Clinton 43 to 41%. The 538 election forecast gives Hillary Clinton an 86% chance of winning. But there are mixed messages tonight from the Trump campaign about those numbers. Donald Trump maintains the polls are flawed, especially those showing him trailing by double digits. In Florida, the Republican admitted he might not win, but also tweeted that phony polls are designed to suppress the vote.
Don't believe the media. But even the media is giving pretty good numbers. They can't help it. But the numbers are even better than what they're saying.
Get this, today Trump's running mate Mike Pence brought up the 1948 election when Harry Truman upset Thomas Dewey. While Trump rallied supporters in Florida, Hillary Clinton was in the Northeast. She's trying to drum up votes for fellow Democrats. Reporter Diane Gallagher explains.
Just 15 days before the United States picks its new president, and voters in some battleground states are already hitting the polls, while Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton roll out their version of the final stretch strategy.
I believe we're actually winning. Now, the press, I believe we're actually...
Despite his claims, Trump is down in national polls, but a new CNN ORC poll shows the race is tightening, with Clinton at 49 and Trump at 44.
I think we're in a dead heat. In some states, we might be a little behind, but as Mr. Trump pointed out, in Ohio, I think we're up. In Iowa, we're up.
Trump did receive his first major newspaper endorsement from the conservative Las Vegas Review-Journal. Still, some consistently red states are now being called toss-ups just 2 weeks out, which may be behind Clinton's new focus.
Emphasizing the importance of electing Democrats down the ballot.
She's not the only one. President Obama is cutting ads for House and Senate Democrats and endorsing 150 state legislative candidates. But even as Democrats slam Republicans for standing by their nominee,
Trump even attacked Kelly Ayotte and called her weak. And Kelly stuck with him.
Sources say Clinton is reaching across the aisle, having private conversations with some Republicans as she turns her attention from Trump to transition. Though no one from her camp will talk about it on the record just yet.
I'm a little superstitious about that. I want to focus on what our first task is.
In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
Hundreds of pounds of unwanted prescription drugs off the streets in Omaha and Council Bluffs tonight. Operation Medicine Cabinet, a DEA-sponsored drug take-back event, happened over the weekend. Authorities tell us they collected nearly 2,000 pounds at Walgreens and Hy-Vee locations on Saturday. Council Bluffs police gathered 320 pounds of pills. Omaha might soon pay more to protect the area against floods. The goal, avoid scenes like this one. Remember all this water? In 2011, the Missouri River overwhelmed levees. Tomorrow, the City Council will vote on a measure to pay $750,000 to keep the levee system up to date. It's part of a cost-sharing plan, along with Bellevue, Sarpy County, and the Papio, Missouri NRD. Tonight, the governor of Iowa says he's open to taking another look at the state's minimum wage. Right now, workers in Iowa get $7.25 an hour. That's consistent with the federal level, but a handful of Iowa cities adopted a higher minimum wage.
It would be better if we had a uniform statewide minimum wage. It needs to be a delicate balance, though, because obviously we want to improve the income for people that are at minimum wage jobs. We want to do it in a way that's not going to drive small businesses out of business.
Just across the state line, Nebraska's minimum wage is $9 an hour. If you live in Omaha, you no longer use electricity generated at a nuclear power plant. Operators permanently shut down the Fort Calhoun nuclear station this afternoon. It's the first step in a process that could take 60 years and cost $1 billion. Nearly 700 people who work at the plant are being phased out over the next few years. A police ride-along turned serious where the officer and passenger had to duck for cover. And snow alert where the flakes are already on the ground and likely to stay a while. Next.
And no snow here, but a chance for some showers and thunderstorms late tomorrow evening. I'll have the latest timeline on when the rain will be moving in and what we can expect for the rest of your week.
It's the most important job you'll ever have, raising your kids. And you care about every detail. But do you know what happened at school today? What are they learning? How do our schools compare? What programs can we be proud of? At KMTV, we care about your kids. That's why our team takes you in the classroom every Tuesday and Thursday on Action 3 News, making your busy job as a parent a little more informed. In the classroom on Action 3 News.
See the debate? Brad Ashford got caught.
Sure, I voted for Nancy Pelosi.
He sure did. Almost 80% of the time.
Sure, I voted for Nancy Pelosi.
Ashford voted with Pelosi to release prisoners from Guantanamo Bay. But Ashford doesn't think you're smart enough to understand.
I've had 18 years of being a legislator, and it is complicated.
18 years in politics, almost 80% with Pelosi. Bipartisan? Not Brad Ashford. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Hillary Clinton won't change Washington. She's been there 30 years. Taxes went up, terrorism spread, jobs vanished. But special interests and Washington insiders thrived. Donald Trump will turn Washington upside down, day one. Real change that puts Americans first. A vote for Hillary is a vote for more of the same. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for change that makes America great again.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Mike Ronstall really wants you to think he's an average guy. Maybe he does mow his own lawn, but Mike Ronstall has also taken more than $3 million from special interests, voted to spend nearly $600,000 on free trolley service for Des Moines lobbyists, wanted to give driver's licenses to people in this country illegally, put over $1 billion in new debt on Iowa taxpayers, and supported a massive job-killing tax hike.
That Mike Ronstall, he has not changed a bit.
She's right. This is who he was all along.
Shop Nebraska Furniture Mart's huge warehouse event with 24-month financing now.
Shots fired! Mainbury and Lighthouse.
Frightening moments for a police officer and a civilian passenger after a suspect takes off from an attempted traffic stop and fired at least 14 gunshots. 3 rounds hit the Madera, California police cruiser. 2 nailed the windshield. Yikes. It was only the second week on the job for the officer. The passenger was on a ride-along, hoping to learn more about police work. Wow. Local paramedics get a boost in life-saving skills thanks to some very realistic training. Instead of practicing on mannequins, Omaha paramedics are now trying out their techniques on cadavers. Doctors say the class gives trainees a chance to learn how the human body reacts.
So this gives them a chance to practice all the intricacies of how that feels, how it looks. If they mess up here in the cadaver lab, there's kind of no harm, no foul in the sense that they can retry it.
By the way, the cadavers are from people who agreed to donate their bodies to science before their death.
A little bit lower.
Well, from death to birth, an amazing infant in Texas will be able to celebrate 2 birthdays. Listen to this one. Baby Lynn Lee Bomer, right there. When her mother went in for her 16-week ultrasound, doctors in Houston found a tumor. The only way for the baby to survive was for surgeons to remove her from the womb at 23 weeks. Doctors then put her back, and she was born via C-section at almost full term.
How exciting it is that she's made it through, and not only made it through, but done so well, and we're very thankful for the doctors.
That is amazing. The infant is now healthy and scheduled to go home next week. Well, it's a sight many of us are not quite ready for here in the latter part of October, but it has one New England business celebrating. Look at the snow at Bolton Valley Ski Resort in Vermont. 9 inches this past weekend, and more is expected this week. Also, heavy wind and freezing rain knocked out power to the area, which leads to weather alert meteorologist Jennifer Zeppelin. Nothing like that headed this way to Omaha just yet,
I don't know
right?
that I'm quite ready for that just yet. Are you? Seriously?
In February, yes. In late
not in
October, no.
No.
I mean, that's the trick part of trick or treat, right?
It is, and I think we may be in store for a treat instead of a trick. So we'll see here. We're just a week away from Halloween, but right now high pressure is definitely in control of our weather. Has brought us an incredible day once again. A front moved through yesterday, still managed to make it to 71 degrees. Today has been a little cooler with those southeast winds. A few showers beginning to build over parts of South Dakota and even into Wyoming. When can we expect the activity? Well, it is becoming more widespread from the Wasatch, even over the western slope in Colorado. This high will slowly work its way to the east. The front that came through here yesterday is going to lift back to the north. It's going to join forces with the system out across the west coast, and it will bring in an increased chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Futurecast right now showing an increase in cloud cover. So for most of the day, we're looking at dry conditions. I'm stopping the clock at close to about 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Right now, that's when we can see some of the best chances for some scattered activity, some light showers. Looks like the heaviest potential for some stronger storms will be back to the north of Sioux Falls into North Dakota, South Dakota, even Minnesota right now. So it looks like the main energy of the storm system will be drawing more moisture back to the northeast of our area. So overall, though, I anticipate, at least at this point, that the storm threat will be relatively low. It's a marginal risk right now that we could see some isolated strong thunderstorms. Right now, Futurecast is not really showing a whole lot of activity. The heaviest really starts to get pushed a little bit further into north central Iowa, and then it really cranks up as you head further to the east into Green Bay and even Chicago, and that is early Wednesday morning. But notice then we're almost on the backside of this storm system. Drier, cooler air will be moving in for the middle part of the work week. But tomorrow, right now, we're just looking at some scattered activity late in the day. Right now, it's pretty quiet outside. Clouds are on the increase. We have Harrah's Casino Cam right now, 54 degrees, a live look looking downtown in Omaha. 66% humidity. Dew points are still pretty low at about 43 degrees and a southeast wind about 10 miles an hour. Won't be too bad in the morning for the bus stop forecast because of the cloudy skies and lighter winds. Cloudy skies will start us off with about 50 degrees at 7 a.m. As far as the rest of your morning goes, if you're an early morning riser and planning to do a little bit of an early morning run or have to take the dog out, 5 a.m. 51, drop it down to 50 degrees. I think that's probably where we're going to bottom out for the morning low. And then we start slowly working our way back up again around 9 a.m. 53 degrees. Area wide, mid-40s from around Wayne to Norfolk. We're looking at low 50s here in the Omaha Metro, down to the south over Falls City tomorrow afternoon with a breezy southeast wind about 10 to 20 miles an hour. That will help to bump us up in advance of this next front moving in. Upper 60s to near 70 degrees. In the morning, looking at about 50 degrees. Clouds on the increase. It will be overcast skies in the morning. Continue to kind of thicken up late in the day. Some evening showers, possibly an isolated thunderstorm, and it will be a bit breezy. Over the next 3 days, We got to see temperatures fluctuating. Drop it down to about 66 on Wednesday. We will see some clearing, drier conditions for your Thursday into Friday. And boy, we start making a run for 70 degrees once again. Friday, we're at 74. Another front passes through just in time for the weekend. It will be dry, but afternoon highs in the mid to low 60s. And Halloween, what a pleasant treat. We're looking at 70 degrees and mostly sunny skies. Our weather kid of the day, a special happy birthday to Jack. Does he look familiar? This is Jen Grildswald's little boy, 2 years old, and we're looking at a temperature of 50 degrees in the morning.
He does have the cutest little face and just a wonderful demeanor. Happy birthday to Jack tonight. And now comes the hard part. Next in sports, what's at stake for the Huskers as they head for Madison this weekend? And the star player who'll be back in the lineup.
When you think